Good morning, Fort Alliance. Also want to welcome those of you who are online. And let me just tell you, you are missing out today. There is just all kinds of amazing things happening, stories to be told, incredible time of worship. It's unfortunate you could be here, but wherever you are, know we are thinking about you, we're praying for you, we miss you, we hope that our time here blesses you. So you know, we had a little bit of a vote. We had a choose your own adventure sermon, so the people have spoken, and we will run the sermon that they chose to be a part of, and we're now inviting you in, and it is the conclusion to our Grudge Match series, where we've been considering what it looks like it means to assume the best, to be generous in giving grace, and today we learn how to go to the source. This is going to bring us to Matthew chapter 18. So let's turn there together. Matthew chapter 18, as we come to the primary text where Jesus outlines for us his way, his game plan to resolving conflict, both in our own family units, in our homes, but also in our church environment. So here it is, Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 to 17. Let's read it, and then we're going to unpack this section by section. It reads like this. If another believer sins against you, go privately and point out the offense. If the person listens and confesses it, you have won that person back. But if you are unsuccessful, take one or two others with you and go back again, so that everything you say may be confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. If the person still refuses to listen, take your case to the church. Then if he or she won't accept the church's decision, treat that person as a pagan or a corrupt tax collector. This is the Jesus way. When it comes to conflict resolution, God's game plan to our final part of going to the source. When we've been hurt, or we feel like we've been wronged, or when someone has sinned against us. So let's start, verse 15. If another believer sins against you, go privately. This whole first section is set up with if another believer sins against you. The understanding here is that Jesus is talking about those who are doing life together in close context. Okay? That could be in our homes, but that is for sure also within our church, which is why we proactively are going through this, because we want to proactively understand and do life together the Jesus way. So if another believer sins against you, go privately and point out that offense. This word go before the word privately literally could be translated move along. Like get going, come on, go, go, go. Go. One of the things I've learned in the midst of conflict resolution is that the longer you wait to address something that's been hard or hurtful or a sin, the longer you wait, the harder it gets to address it. I'll also add, the longer you wait, the more damage that can be done. So Jesus gives us this instruction to go privately, to move along, means like when something happens, go deal with it. Don't just let it sit on the back burner and simmer and simmer and simmer to the point where it's full-fledged boiling and can no longer be brought down or cooled off. Literally move along. This also means that if someone has sinned against us or hurt us or wronged us in some way, that we don't wait for them to come to us. We need to be proactive and go to them. Now, we live in a world that is so different than Jesus' day, predominantly because we are overly connected but completely disconnected because of these devices, right? And so here's some things that I've learned along the way, and this is all just, oops, I made a mistake. Let me pass on what I've learned, okay, to you. When it comes to going privately, privately means one-on-one with another person in the same room, okay? To be very direct, social media, direct messaging, emailing is not the way to resolve our conflict. Rarely are words when we're trying to deal with conflict in social media, direct messaging, or email understood properly. We miss tone, we miss body language, we miss heart. So much of that is missed. And I don't care how much you believe in emojis, you can't make up for being in the room and sitting with someone. I'll also add, because we live in such a connected but disconnected world, you can use and leverage maybe messaging or email to book a meeting or to book a visit, because that is how we schedule our lives. But whenever we schedule or book a visit that's going to be a tricky conversation, it's really important to let the person know what you want to talk about. One of the things that has been hard for me and that I've messed up even along the way is when someone books maybe a meeting with me, or I've in the past booked a meeting with someone, but I didn't know what it was about or they didn't know, I have felt and they have felt blindsided. Like, you just wanted to get for coffee and then tell me all that? So I always now, if I'm booking, hey, I'd like to book a visit with you. Could we talk, make sure we take time to talk about da-da-da-da-da, whatever it is. I'll never bring someone into a visit that's going to involve some hurt or some brokenness or a sinned against me without making sure they know what I want to talk about it. It gives me a chance to feel like I'm ready. It gives them a chance to feel like they're ready, right? Now, here's my freebie for the morning. We live in a world where our leaders consistently use social media to make their opinions known and their fights with each other heard. Okay? I don't need to give examples because you all lived this week. Right? Hear me out. In your relationships with one another in this church, in your relationships with one another in your home, never engage in a war of words via social media. Never. It's never constructive. And so that this lands and so this sticks, I say it like this. It's like peeing upwind. No matter what you say in social media, when you're upset, angry, and have been hurt, it will always come back and hit you. So just don't do it. It needs to be done privately, one-on-one with that person. Go privately. Now we get to that word of coming together with that person one-on-one. So let me be really clear. If you're visiting with someone about something that's hurt you or wronged you and it's not been done with that person, it's done in a different context, a group context, someone else, you've now crossed the line from dealing with conflict resolution Jesus' way to now being a gossip. And gossip is deadly. It destroys churches. It destroys families. It's absolutely gut-wrenching. Now, here's the challenge. We live in a world and in a culture where it's acceptable. Staff room at lunch, at the restaurant or at the pub after, at the gym shooting hoops later with whatever it might be. We live in this world where it seems to have become okay to gossip about our internal problems with others when we've yet to even deal with it with that person. And this is not God's way. Let me give you a little more clarity on gossip so we understand how deadly and how hurtful it is and what happens when you just get rid of it. So this is Proverbs chapter 20, verse 19. One of the reasons that gossip is so deadly is because a gossip goes around telling secrets. So don't hang around with chatterers. If someone is willing to sit in a room and gossip with you, they're also willing to sit in a room and gossip about you. Okay? You have not found a trusted friend, you have found a gossip. If someone will sit in a room and gossip with you, they will also sit in a room and gossip about you. So it's so important to recognize that that is not the Jesus way. The Jesus way is with that person, I go privately. And just flipping a couple pages to chapter 26 of Proverbs, there's a really good one that speaks to like what really should be and ought to be and can be and hopefully is a theme verse in this church, but should be in everyone. Fire goes out without wood, and quarrels disappear when gossip stops. It's good. Quarrels disappear when gossip stops. So we learn to follow the Jesus way and go privately. Now, maybe some of you are sitting here and thinking to yourself, okay, I want to be that, I want to do that, but sometimes I just feel like I don't know for sure what to do or what to say. I need to find some godly counsel. This is a fair point to bring up because in Proverbs you can find all sorts of verses that also will speak of the significance of godly counsel, okay? And so I want to give you a few things to know that you have found godly counsel in the midst of like trying to find wise, godly advice on a way forward in the midst of whatever it is you face, okay? So here's the first one. Godly counsel will always start with, have you gone to the source? This is the easiest way to know if you found someone that's going to give godly advice. Have you gone and talked to that person yet? Oh, no? Oh, guess what? You should try that. Okay? First sign. Second thing, godly counsel will have a life that practices what they preach. You will know a tree by its fruit, right? So, not to like overly dwell, but if we're gossiping in a lunchroom, let's say, and the people I'm talking with, none of them have a marriage that I want my marriage to be like, why would I seek their help on what a marriage should look like, right? I need to find someone that practices what they preach, that has a relationship that I would like to emulate or to model. And finally, this one's really important, okay? If your godly counsel always and only agrees with you, there's a good chance it isn't godly counsel. If your godly counsel always and only agrees with you, there's a good chance it isn't godly counsel. And then maybe the last one is perhaps godly counsel will buy you a dress. Right? Sorry, online folks. You have no clue what I'm talking about, but they do. Jesus follows up that line with sins against you, go privately. And then he adds the point out the offense. Like to go to the source and like point out what's hurt you, what's wronged you, the sin that's happened against you. And maybe you're sitting here right now, okay, that all sounds good, Ken, but like, how do I actually do that? Like, I'm not good with words. I'm not good at like articulating my thoughts. I don't know how to approach someone. That's really hard for me. Sometimes the hardest things in life are the most important for us to do. So here's a few things I've learned over the years on how to go. How to go and point out the offense. The first one, it's probably summarized best for me in Galatians chapter 6, verse 1. While slightly different, the tone of this passage is very similar. It reads like this in Galatians 6:1. Dear brothers and sisters, if another believer is overcome by some sin, you who are godly should gently and humbly help that person back onto the right path. When you go to meet with someone, you meet with them gently and humbly. Last week, when we were talking about being generous and giving grace, we worded it like this. When you look to win a fight in family, everyone loses. And so if you're coming to the table looking to win a fight, right? to win an argument, before you've even started, you've probably lost because everyone's going to lose because of the tone of that conversation. But if you can come to the table gently and humbly, now we got a fighting chance, if you will, for a win-win. Gently and humbly. And so how do I do this? I'm not perfect at this. I don't always do this. I wish I could say I do, but I'm not that strong of a man. But how I strive to do that, to come gently and humbly, is this. I remember that I am to forgive others as I have been forgiven. Just as Christ forgave me, so I am to forgive others. And so I strive to come to the table as someone who's already forgiven, allowing me to take the posture of gentleness and humbly. Now, I also will add that there is a difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. Forgiveness is a command of God that we are to all do for those who've wronged us. And we do that for the sake of our own soul, because when we live in a place of not forgiving, it eats at us from the inside out. As I've heard it said so many times before, when we live with a spirit or a posture of unforgiveness, it's like we drink poison and then we hope it kills someone else. But Jesus not only commanded we forgive, he modeled it. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Reconciliation, though, is why we're at the table, in hopes that out of confession and repentance, there's trust that is built, and reconciliation, a restored relationship that takes place. And so when it comes to sitting at the table, meeting with someone, pointing out an offense, it begins with a posture of gentle and humble, not looking to win a fight. And then, as Jesus says, put it plainly. Now, this is gold. You need to all write this down. This is like the most important line in all conflict resolution. Okay? This is like the most important thing. Here it is. When you come to the table and you put it plainly like this. Help me understand why you fill in the blank. Help me understand why you. If you start like every conflict resolution visit, meeting with, whether it's in the church family, in your own families, with this line, it is going to go miles towards helping you resolve that issue with help. Help me understand why you, because you've started with a question of listening. And honestly, like 9.9 out of 10, when this happens, like immediately that person is like, yeah, no, I crossed the line. I'm really sorry. That's not the kind of man, it's not the kind of woman that I want to be. And it will just go so far towards de-escalating conflict with that line. Help me understand why you. I use it sometimes like this. It hurt me when you, help me understand why you. Or it really bothered me when you, help me understand why. 9 times, 9.9 times out of 10. This is going to resolve the conflict at hand by just coming with a posture of gentleness and humility, and then a posture of listening. In 2020, at roughly the same time of year, as I was just starting life here, I stood in this very location, and I quote that I promised, I knew I would make mistakes, but I promised to the best of my ability, I would, with a gracious ruthlessness, hold us to a standard where we strive to do life in this church as a people who would assume the best, be generous in giving grace, and going to the source. And while not perfect, I've done my best at that. And one of my proudest moments in my 6-7 years, I did it again, I didn't even mean to. I'm at 6.5 years being here, so it really was a 6-7 year, okay? One of my proudest moments, December. I'm in an impromptu meeting with a couple of our staff. And surprise, surprise, I got a little heated. And the next working day, that staff member came in, sat down. I said, Ken, can you help me understand why you? And in that moment, it wasn't me the boss, it was me the brother. And I was so proud that this had become our culture. Because I make mistakes too, man. I'm not perfect. But I get to do life with a team that will practice what we preach. And seriously, it was like less than 5 minutes. We talked about the hurts and pains I was working through, the hurts and pains they were working through. And we just dealt with it and it was done. This is the Jesus way. Assume the best, be generous in giving grace, and go to the source. If we simply do this, 9.9 out of 10, it's going to resolve. And it allows us to do life as a church in a healthy way. It allows us to do life in our homes in a healthy way. But maybe you're sitting there and thinking to yourself, but what about the point one, Pastor Ken? Well, when it comes to the point one, Jesus says this. If you are unsuccessful, take one or two others with you and go back again, so that everything you say may be confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. In church, maybe this is an elder or a staff member or a small group leader, someone that you trust, and you go in. If the person still refuses to listen, take your case to the church. Then if he or she won't accept the church's decision, treat that person as a pagan or a corrupt tax collector. And maybe you're thinking right now, when would that possibly happen? Listen, here's the experience for me. One time in almost 25 years of vocational ministry doing this, have I had to tell someone they're not allowed to worship in the church anymore. And you all in the room know what I'm talking about, and they're left wondering, what's he talking about? Sorry, you missed it. One time. It rarely gets that far if we would simply follow the Jesus way first. So how about at home? Let's get to the nitty-gritty stuff. How does this then play out at home? Well, we're going to wrap up with the help of my lovely wife, Janelle, and recap for you, the Fisher 5 big keys to conflict resolution. Okay? Now, Janelle and I have shared these points or parts of these points with you guys before, and we regularly review these things because one of the blessings of being a pastor is that you get to meet with couples who are maybe struggling or who are just about to get married, and you review this. And when you review this, it helps you. And so we review this multiple times a year, and it's helped us in our relationship, in our communication, and in our means to resolve conflict. So if you're sitting here thinking, well, I've heard that point before, it's okay. Review helps, right? By reviewing this, it's going to help us be the husband, the wife, the family unit that we want to be. Okay, so here are some of the 5 keys for the Fishers that we've stolen from our marriage prep material that we hope is going to help you. So the first one, when it comes to establishing the going to the source, is for us, we've learned to set a time and a place.
Yes, we no longer talk about important things after 10 o'clock. We have a no talking past 10 o'clock rule in our marriage.
So,
not in our home because there's a lot of chatter.
Oh man, the noise in our house after 10,
loud
it's unbelievable.
noise.
So we learned really early that when we are tired, it is very difficult to resolve a conflict.
Or to communicate properly.
To communicate
honestly.
properly,
We're
yep.
just
So
tired mom and dad.
one of the jokes, maybe when we were younger, it was a little more mean-spirited.
Yeah, a little more sassy, like no talking after 10.
But for our house is we don't resolve conflict after 10 because nothing good happens after 10 For us, at least, when it comes to conflict. Maybe you are both night owls and it works. For us, it's a no-go. Time also matters because it's important to understand the other person's like context in the day.
Yes. When Ken is a hungry Ken, he's also a hangry Ken. So then having any sort of conversation or getting through to him in any way, it just doesn't work. So, after supper, that's a good time because he's fed, he's had some time to think. For me, it's like I come home from school and I am pooped.
Yes. For you, right after school, no go. Working with those kindergartners is hard.
Yes, I am exhausted.
We don't need to tell those stories.
No,
but it's hard.
We don't. Those stories can stay in kindergarten.
But to steal an acronym from AA and NA that's super valuable, HALT. When you're about to enter into a conversation that's maybe a little tense, HALT. Are you or is the person you're about to engage with hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Okay, we want to ideally find a time where we can enter into that conversation when we're in kind of a good place. Fed, watered, rested.
I've had some sleep, been able to breathe for 2 seconds.
Okay? Now, place also matters. It is so important to have a place that you can communicate with the person that you're communicating with where you feel like you can say what you need to say and that you can listen to what they are saying. And likewise, that it is a place that they can say what they want to say. And there's been instances in our life.
Yep. I don't really want to share this one, to be honest.
But when we were walking out of the church last Sunday, Janelle looked at me and said, "You need to tell stories that make me look bad. I am not that good."
That's true.
So tell them the story.
So I'm going to share this story and throw myself under the bus. So there was a season. Well, it really wasn't a season. It was a moment. Maybe a few moments I've had it in my lifetime. Anyway, this was one that was not so good. Ken was working, and I was
in my office.
In his office.
Not
at the
this
church.
office, but like this office,
Very
where the
close.
office administrator literally sat 10 feet away from me.
Anyway, I had a really good stance, and we are going to talk about this. And I walked myself into his office, and I threw it all on the table, and I was
With
to
fire.
him. And I'm sassy, but I'm not always sassy, but that was a very sassy Janelle moment. And it was not in a neutral place. So I was the complete idiot. And I remember being like, whoa, his reaction is totally not what I anticipated.
I didn't say a thing. Now you
His
know I'm
face
really
was
mad.
like-
If I don't say a thing, you know.
It was like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't even know who that is. But
It's a wrestler from the
okay.
90s, babe.
Anyway,
Anyway.
he was,
I was mad.
I did not get the response I wanted. So not a neutral place. It just blew up later and not a good
so
start.
the place
at
matters.
all.
A silly example, but it's still a lands. When we moved to Lloydminster in 2005, we were building our first home. It was a fourplex. It was way behind schedule, and so we had to have a place to live. So we moved into my parents' house for a couple months. This is not a safe place to resolve conflict in your parents' home. It is out of balance. The power and balance is off. Okay? And we learned that the hard way.
So we drove around
So we learned
and yelled at each other in
to
our
get
car.
in the vehicle and go for a
And
drive.
I love that car. That was a great car.
a great car.
I think you said it was a Mazda?
Mazda 3.
Oh, yeah, it was
Yep,
such a good
it was
car.
a good car.
Great
okay?
car.
So the time and the place
Yep.
when it comes to going to the source, going privately, really, really matters. Now, I often will get this question, okay? What about the Bible where it says, don't let the sun go down on your anger? And that is true, okay? There's a portion of that we need to keep in light when we're remembering our conflict. Remember I said the longer we wait, the harder it gets to have the conversation?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some links there. But the Bible also says a gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare. And in my home, after 10 o'clock, them words get harsh fast.
Yes.
Okay? I wish I was not like that.
And I think that was honestly why
Yeah.
Like Janelle growing up was taught that don't let the sun go down upon your wrath, right? That's the like
Yep.
KJV version. So I was like, okay, we got to deal with this. Like you can't go to sleep. We got come on. And it would just push us into a place that wasn't healthy.
It would get bad.
So we
And
made the decision to not have big conversations after 10.
If we would just say, tell you what, how about tomorrow
Yep.
at 6:30, after we've had supper, we will talk about da-da-da-da-da. Everybody can go, okay, we're not avoiding. This is on the calendar tomorrow at 6:30 when we're going to talk about this. And for me, at least, it allowed me to like calm down.
And that leads us to the second point. The second point is define the problem. So in those heated moments after 10 o'clock where we weren't thinking clearly, neither of us could actually define the problem. It was just attack, win, but nobody was winning. So having to define the problem and set a time that was a healthy one for us, or realize that this was a healthier time to talk about something, it allowed me, because I'm a processor, I'm a verbal processor. I will talk in a circle and say a whole bunch of things that I maybe don't intend to say, and it comes out totally wrong, and then Ken's like, you said that. I'm like, well, that's not what I meant. I kind of meant this. So I need time to think it through, to figure out my why. What am I actually mad at? Am I mad that he throws his dirty socks on the floor all the time? No. It is bothersome, but...
But that's not why she's really mad.
No, that's not why I'm really mad. It's like the details of the matter.
So by
It's
setting
beside the point.
the time and the place, and then saying, so that we can talk about da-da-da-da-da. Now for us, we'll just fill in the blank because this is our biggest issue is time.
Yeah.
So can we talk tomorrow after supper at 6:30 about the time, more specifically the time we're not getting together? Yeah. You got it. Let's talk about it then. So now we don't come to the table at 6:30 and talk about the garbage cans not having garbage bags, right? By the way, Wednesday was garbage day, and all the garbage cans had bags this week.
That's right.
Beautiful.
Done.
Beautiful. Or the dirty socks.
Right.
Right?
I'm not going to come talk about the dirty socks because it's not the dirty socks. It's that it takes me time to pick up the dirty socks, to wash the dirty socks, and that I don't have time to do the things that I want to do, which is spend time with you.
Right.
See? I got there really quickly.
So we set the time and place, we define the problem, and when we come to the meeting, the going to the source meeting, okay, what we do now is we always start with how I contribute to the problem. And Janelle, likewise, always comes with how she contributes to the problem.
So it's not me coming and yelling at Ken about the things he's doing wrong. It's me thinking, you know what, actually, I'm being really selfish because you're exhausted and you need to just take your socks off because you're hot, right? So, like, it's okay. Just leave them there. This is your home. It's not about the mess because that's what we do at our house. We make messes at home. That's what you do. So I had to come to the realization that I'm just being maybe a little bit selfish in some of my expectations.
Or that I'm too busy.
Or that I'm too busy. Right?
I'm too busy. I'm talking about me now.
Yeah.
That I'm just too busy.
Yeah.
I need to say
You're a
no to
busy
certain
guy.
things.
Yeah, you're a busy guy. But
Right?
that's okay, because you love your family, that's why
I
you're
do.
busy. And
So we come to the table with how I. If you can come to the table with how I contribute to the problem, you are fast-tracking conflict resolution. Because you're not coming to the table with the you, but you're coming with the me. This is so helpful in our conversation and in our resolving conflict with one
and not
another.
just in marriage, I think this one is translatable.
Every-
Like in your conversations with your children, in your conversations, kids, with your parents, like defining why you're really mad. Why are you mad? What is the root of why you're angry right now? And then realizing your contribution. Like, how am I contributing to the temperature in our house right now? What are some things that I am doing? And if you can figure those out, you are like, you're one up. Like, you are moving forward.
Yep.
You're growing.
Yep.
Right? Maturing. So that would be awesome. Next one is agree upon a way forward.
So when we've sat down, we've talked this through, we will come up with specific action steps.
Yep.
And something that's become really important for us is not repeating the same action step if it didn't work after the first maybe couple tries.
Which we did a lot of.
When we were younger, we would try the same solution
no
after the
ideas.
same solution after the same solution. Because Janelle was really hopeful that I could function like her family of origin. But I am not an ENS.
A paper calendar is so nice, don't you think?
Right? Like, I do not roll
I love a paper
like
calendar.
the ENS family. My mind don't work like that. My day-to-day reality don't work like that. And so we tried ENS family of origin, ENS family of origin, ENS family, like over and over and over. And until we finally, like, why do we keep trying the same
this is not
solution?
working.
And began to, like, come up with creative ways to figure out this new Fisher family of origin, where we're able to start to, like, make some traction, right? So we don't want to just keep, repeating the same thing. If it's not getting where you got to come up with a new solution,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
A new way. And then finally, okay, this one's relatively new. It's new since our time here because this has become a game changer for us. You need to proactively book a time and a place to be together
Yep.
in your family of origin.
Schedule it
Could be
in.
your whole family, could be just the two of you.
Our life is busy, so we have to
Crazy
schedule
busy.
it in. We have to address it before. We have to build that familial relationship
Yep.
so that by the time we get to that place where we're entering conflict or we feel some tension arising, we already have that relational database. And I feel like that's the same in families too, right? Like, you need time together as a family to build those relationships so that when you have those tense conversations, you have that familial love background, right? So that you can have those honest conversations in a loving way.
Yep. And so I know that this example is not going to land for everyone. It's really going to just land for, like, the alpha males in the room. But for the alpha males, this is for you. This really matters, okay? You have to invest into your family, and you have to invest into your spouse. You got to give them time, okay? And so here's what I had to unlearn. I had to unlearn the 9-to-5 work week, okay? So here's what I mean by that. We as a society in the Industrial Revolution booked 9-to-5 work weeks because that's when the sun was out. That's when they had to work because it was light out. We no longer live in the era of the Industrial Revolution, right? We live in the technological revolution and the artificial intelligence revolution. This now means that you can potentially work 24/7. Some of you work shift work 24/7. This is our world. We are a 24/7 work calendar type people society now. And we have to learn to segue 9-to-5 into, like, technological revolution. And so for me, I think of every day as actually 3 days. And so I block my calendar every day into 3 days. So I have the 6 a.m. to noon day, I have the noon to 6 day, and then I have the 6 p.m. to 10 o'clock day. Every day I live has 3 days for me. And this helps me because I'm an alpha guy and I want to go get stuff done and I want to do, accomplish, and allows me to maximize. It also allows me to recognize when I have to turn this off because I can literally be on this and work any time, any day, anywhere. I can literally be in Southeast Asia and solving problems in Fort Saskatchewan on this, right? So I have to learn to shift my mind into recognizing we live in a new way, a new clock, a new day. And so for me, now I don't just have a 7-day work week, I actually have a 21-day work week.
That sounds exhausting to me.
No, it's awesome for the alphas because they're like, holy smokes, I can get so much done in 21 days. I know. That's amazing. Like, I can get so much done. I know you hate this, but for the alpha brothers, okay, hear me out. And the alpha sisters, there's some go-getter women in our church, okay? Janelle's going to make fun of this, and then she's going to be serious in just a moment. All this means is one of my 21 days a week, I write the word Janelle in my calendar, and I now ensure every week I'm proactively booking time with
So
Janelle.
now I get 1 out of 21. That's...
I know.
What about a part of 7? I feel like that
I know.
ratio sounds nice.
I know initially it sounds crazy, but now let's be serious.
Yep. Seriously? What are we being serious about? I love that you scheduled me in. Slot me in. I'll
I
take more
guard
days.
Janelle time every week. If you ask me to book an appointment, when the word Janelle time is on my calendar, I'm not going to tell you it says Janelle time. I'm just going to say I'm booked. And I will not change that booking. Once in my 6 or 7 years being here, I changed it. And it was an absolute life or death emergency. Once. Otherwise, Janelle time is Janelle time. That's sacred.
Thanks for guarding that, babe.
And so I block it in. And so if you want to ensure, you can proactively, this is just a simple tactical way that the guys in the room who kind of think like me and the girls in the room think can be tactical in that, okay? Thanks for sticking with us, guys. I had way too much material for today, and I cut that other 20 minutes out that you guys voted on. So
Is that all you need?
you did a great job. Thanks, honey. So I wrap us up with this. I recommit. In this church family and in my home, I will, with a gracious ruthlessness, proactively aim to have my home, to have us be a place where we assume the best, we are generous in giving grace, and where we go to the source. This is the Jesus way. And this is the way he's called us to live out our relationships with one another, at home, and at church.